I just want to make sure on the 25 June, first paragraph, it was formed as a Watertown Preservation Commission, so that's Historic Commission. Yeah. I know it's dotting I's and crossing T's, but the state's all about it. Other than that, I make a motion that we approve minutes from 25 June and 13 August 2020.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Nay? Okay. That's good. We can move on to business. We've got one item tonight, which is always good. You're not Kim, I know. So.
I'm Jason Johnson, I'm the tourism director for this county.
Okay, great. Good. Good deal. We will let you present then.
Okay. Appreciate you all honestly, I don't know if you're all aware, but mural project, painting locals, mural project in Watertown, that we're doing with the Wilson County Convention Visitors Bureau, in conjunction with the Wilson County Murals Committee, and proposing laying the wall of, let's see what it is, Scott Rogers Wall at 105 West Main Street. And we're looking for Don and Matt, Sunrise, to be in the mural. We have rendering and approximate size.
Yeah, we'll need to submit that
Okay.
as part of this. So.
I've got everything right here in this for you. Let's see, as far as any other things that you might know, we do with the Big Local project, we do hashtags and social media tags in the corner. And you'll see like what we get on the left hand, as well as our veterans bureau. Veterans follow small to the side.
And I'll let you submit those as well.
Sure, I'm gonna go on to the hashtag.
This is
Some of that so we can see it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure.
this is the wall that's between the dentist office and.
Yes, sir.
And it's pretty visible. After I got an email from him, I made a point when I'm driving towards the square from the west.
Rest of everything that we had there.
It has a lot of visibility.
We think that's it for us, with the.
So it's supposed to be a photo op as well?
That's it. For trains and they think it'd be a great spot. We've been, the real estate, we've been looking for a perfect spot to get the train in the Watertown for quite some time. We think the rendering and that, has given us a perfect spot to do that.
I mean, is there any city codes out with that?
Only thing would be the sign ordinance might potentially apply, and it would, for wall mounted signs, they can be no larger typically than 180 square feet, which is, what that is, 10 by 18 or something. And I'm thinking it's going to be plenty big.
Yeah, just over.
Proposed that, as snow was 25, 11 and a quarter.
Now, when you say signs, does that mean something that actually like attached to the wall or that?
And I know this is not a thing.
Okay. Yeah, even the hashtag.
I'm just looking at all.
What's the square footage on that?
300.
It's 230,
Oh, yeah.
And what's the
It's
180.
Well, for a wall sign, which would be a mounted, as she rightfully said, the closest thing, it says, in all parts of government within the zone as a single multiple occupant, each independent business or use having outside public entrance may have a wall mounted sign in a amount equal to 1 square foot for 1 linear foot of the front face of the business. Each retail use or office use or multiple retail office use sharing a common entrance shall be allowed to have at least 1 wall sign not to exceed 30 square feet. In no case shall signage for any one facade be greater than 180 square feet.
so we're what would you say was the amount of square footage?
It's
on
50 feet over.
50 feet over.
Yeah, but
And that's from city codes.
That's actually for commercial signage, you know, I mean, I hesitate to.
in doing research on this,
I know that, she has research for, I think the red issues with physical 11 and do the retail signage and for mural, it doesn't fall to your things. I think
Yeah.
she researched that. Signage, no big number.
Well, this is, to some extent, this is art versus science. The problem is, if a commercial tenant pushes that argument back in our face, or in the city's face, either one of them can be a form of communication, whether it's art or advertisement. So, but that being said, I don't want to go with the comfort at all. I'll leave it to this board as to what they decide on the recommendation. Just know that it's probably 50 feet outside of what you would typically allow a sign. This is not,
Would
it's
it
not
be
a
in a
mountain
position
sign.
where if we approved it, which I don't have anything against it, I just know city codes apply, they always come up. You know, all what we discussed, would they have a right to go to variance?
Yeah.
If they want to go ahead and stay with it?
Yeah, if they wanted to be clean, they could get the variance from the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Yeah,
I don't know, they may want to talk to Mike about whether or not he thinks that's necessary.
true, yeah.
City Mayor.
Okay.
I'll tell you this, I'm certainly not going to be sending you a letter of violation unless I'm directed to, okay?
Yeah, and
And I don't know,
because it does open can of worms, we can do this, and somebody else is going to do
Well,
that.
you gotta watch, you gotta be careful with precedent, that's what we're talking about.
I don't mean to cause problems or anything, and I don't mean to belittle y'all by saying I'm not going to send them a letter of violation unless forced to, but I'm kind of in an awkward position here because I'm a county employee that's representing y'all, so.
So, I'm misunderstood this, but who would complain? Like, who would be the most liable person to this?
Who
We
knows?
are saying
It would be, if somebody came in and wanted to put a big ginormous sign on the side of the building, and we allowed this, they could use it as precedent.
A crazy scenario, somebody comes in and wants to put a Pabst Blue.
I don't have anybody in particular that I think's out there just laying the news, playing and saying, aha, or anything like that.
It may not be interpreted that way, we just have to think it through and make sure we're,
Let me ask you something. How are these signs, how many of these types of signs do you now have across the
Well,
country?
it's a mural, it's not a sign.
Well,
The murals, how many murals?
You've got 3 out there. This would be the
This
third.
is
7, wow.
How many?
7.
7.
How big, are they all about this size?
Variance in sizes, but this is the 20 by 11, we've got.
The caboose is like 10 by 30 or 20 by 30.
The moose is going in the park, and Mount Juliet, we've got, of course, it's like which is, we're good at size.
What about the 11 postcard mural? Is
So
it
like,
that
those
size?
are, yeah, actually, they don't really go.
What's the size? Is it about that size?
Yeah, one 11 is like 11 and a half by 24.
Well, the point of a mural, I mean, is to be seen as art and admired as a large scale art that you don't get to see every day. So, most of the time when you see a mural, they are larger. One of my favorites.
Well, I'm sorry. Does somebody have a copy of that?
11?
No, well, the train.
My favorite one is Beanie House in Mexico.
So,
I'm sure it's.
It is.
no, the only reason this is what it is because here's your proposed normal woman or kid, get a picture, take a picture.
Sure.
You know, if it's a question of square footage, you know, some things can be, for that matter, you can chop that off and lose 30 or 40 square feet.
well, I mean, I'm not advocating to edit it, you know, I just, it's just something we have policies, you know.
What you have designed,
I don't have a problem with the mural as it is at all.
what you
I
have
just
designed
pointing out
though, is
maximum sign signage on the wall.
is set up a certain size for a certain area. You start messing with the size too much and you lose how it blends in is the way I look at it. The other thing that concerns me, and this may be a question from what you do around the county, how are these maintained? Is there a maintenance on these things if they start looking a little tacky, does someone come in and
What we do the contract, building owner inherits contract, goes to Tennessee, my farm, we have a 3-year maintenance contract. covering normal wear and tear.
Flaking, whatever.
Right. I can assure you that what we've done so far, and Terrell definitely that Pat uses, I mean, he's been doing this for years.
Dog.
It's, you know, he's not getting out there with some crap paint that he got at Walmart, that's just what it is. This thing is, it's there to stay for sure.
So after 3 years, it's kind of on its own, is what we're saying.
Yes.
But if I remember correctly, whoever does the job is responsible for 10 years, is that what it says?
That's what the historic Lebanon addendum to the contract was, that historic Lebanon is paying for up to 10 years of maintenance. So, I mean, that could always be something that we talk to Scott Walker about, see if he's willing to do that.
Building right on
But
the
it's
side,
not
and starts
just-
lighting right there.
I know where that is.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, you need that too.
Looks good down there.
But, this is a new,
That's the logo.
relatively new construction. The block is new, there's not a water problem. The block, paint's good, everything's good. As far as this goes, it will hold up really well over a long time, especially if you use exterior acrylic paint.
You'd like to think that something of that nature has a relatively lengthy life, 15, 20 years. And so, because that particular subject that you picked there is obviously very much in line with what we're doing here, and we understand that. And so, for it to, you see so many things. Everybody wants to build something, but nobody wants to maintain anything, whether it's a park or a sign or whatever the hell it is, you know. And so that was my curiosity about how long range we would take care of that, or if as a tourism director, if that was going to be some kind of line item in future budgets to maintain and manage those signs as they are developed. I assume you plan to do more than 7.
Yes.
Is there a number?
10, the original goal was 10 murals. The momentum we're getting right now, we're looking at this being possibly 7, 8, 9, 10 are already in planning stages, with the possibility of phase 2. So this will continue, and we will look at,
Okay.
like I say, addendums and stuff like this.
So Pat, shotgun, won't hold you to it. What would be a good maintenance, if you had 15 murals countywide and they wanted to establish an annual budget for maintenance, what's a good figure, $100 a year a sign? I mean, I understand a tornado can come in and screw the whole thing up, but I'm saying just a normal maintenance of wind and rain and sun, car backing into the building and knocking a hole in it, or, you know. Is there some way to establish, or is there some other community that's Nashville has some kind of program like this?
It's kind of my concern is the walls, so through the historic
I
commission.
will say that
They don't know anything
I
about it.
think
I didn't have a chance to read it, but you can still have it.
Who owns them?
Yeah, and that's the other part, the ownership, who owns the mural, that's the question y'all probably have to answer. Who does?
Ours has operated. Now, with that, if the question is, can you use the mural for promotional things like this?
Well, not only that, but I'm just thinking, I'm just thinking silly things that can happen. Suppose a car does back into it, screws it up. Is there gonna be an insurance policy on
Well,
this?
I say at that point, the building owner's insurance policy would be, and it's enough damage to the wall.
I'm just bringing up some crazy possibilities on this.
Yeah, but I mean, paint-wise, you're probably gonna use one shot, it's gonna, no, I mean, you're using.
Not anymore, not at all.
Yeah.
Exterior, it's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't beat the light.
So it's probably got on a west-facing facade.
Right.
I mean, your experience longevity-wise, it's probably good for 5 to 7 years at least before it's. How many times did we, of course, this was the little billboard sign there on my building, on the square, that's been there, it's only been repainted, what, twice, once?
Yeah.
It was rebuilt once. It rotted away once. It was
Yeah, I
rebuilt.
think they replaced the trim or something.
Yeah.
I think the wood rotted. Yeah.
But yeah, that's wood.
Show Mike.
It had been there, it's been there 15 years anyway, right?
Probably more like 8 years.
Yeah. Let's get that contract out. That contract. Right.
And that's the contract for the mural
Tom,
maintenance.
what would be,
That's what it is, right? Maintenance contract.
say we approve this. Wait a minute. Say we approve this. What is the, and we get a rash of folks, this is a what if. We get a rash of folks wanting to put signs all over town like this. What is the argument of stopping it with just this or limiting, or how do you regulate if you allow this to go in place and it over in
I
size?
don't know that. I mean, you are setting a precedent. I think at some level, this board would have to exercise some caution in terms of considering additional ones, because if everybody does it, it takes away it takes away
The beauty of
the beauty of this one, and as well as also just the whole impact that the campaign is trying to have. And honestly, it's had nothing to do with what they're doing. I actually applaud the billboard thing. But my concern would be, I forget where it is, there's somewhere in Lebanon, it's got Mick Jagger, no, it's Galveston, it's got Mick Jagger lives painted on the side of the George house. And then there's another one that's painted up like Krusty the Clown.
You know, we had someone who wanted to put a sign on the side of a building down here in town, and we pulled the string on that thing. And
But
it's not-
But in terms of what the tourism efforts are, in terms of trying to highlight the special things about Wilson County, I think this is a great idea. I know the postcard has been very successful, and the other murals that I know of have been very successful. I'm familiar with them in other very historically leaning or art-oriented towns, which Watertown happens to be for its size, a particularly artistically oriented town. Taos, New Mexico, I was mentioning, is probably my favorite mural in the world. It's beautiful. But, so I think it's a good thing. The only thing I brought up was the 180 square foot maximum wall mounted sign, just so y'all could consider it. I really don't have a problem with the oversize of this, because it's only about 45 square feet larger than what we allow. Again, since Mike's here, you might refer to him to see if he thinks it even needs to go to the board of zoning appeals for a variance.
about it, Mayor.
Here, this is not a sign per se, but it's a mural.
Give him that
And,
picture.
give me the picture, yeah, it's not a sign.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And roughly, it's 225 square feet. According to your sign ordinance, which
It's
is
230.
body doesn't have any oversight over it per se, a wall mounted sign shall not exceed 180 square feet. So you're about 45 square feet over what a wall mounted sign would be. Keeping in mind, that this is a paint job, it's not a wall sign.
Do we have anything on murals?
No, but that's sort of what John brought up, is like, if we approve this one, how do we keep other people from doing it all on the side of the building all the time?
I mean, so does it set a precedent that somebody else can come and say, okay, we want to put a big mural over here, and then somebody else comes and we want to put a big mural over here. I'm not opposed to this in these. The question is, could we possibly word this where we're doing it in conjunction with Wilson County and it's kind of a unique application?
I think that's it, absolutely.
Yeah.
That it's a tourism.
Yeah.
And
So that was.
that's what makes it unique as opposed to, and I'm just pulling it. And that's actually the con, if they were still here, doing it on their wall as a commercial.
Yeah.
Our rules and regulations address large wall signs,
Those are mounted signs.
the mounted signs. And so there is
The
some,
historic district, regulates paint jobs on the exterior, so they do have some oversight over that. I think the answer, along the line of what you're discussing, is you need to make your approval unique to the fact that it's a civic countywide effort, associated with the tourism, county tourism commission, and therefore we are.
they all have historical value. All the signs that you've put up, are they all?
This is actually a part of the three-star program. Wilson County is certified as a three-star in the Tennessee's state program. And this is one of the three goals that we have in compliance with that, and the goal is beautification. Beautification, walkability, and workforce development were three goals. So the mural project became the main project of the beautification goal.
Okay.
Just to put it in a little bit more context. And under that, the Tourism Bureau is the project's management of it.
There is also historical value I see to the community because of rail. And the other part is it fits in with the tourism angles that we've been working on pretty regularly here for several years.
Yes, we're going to, we're going to have
Context.
the deepest context between.
Yeah. I just want to be able to answer questions if they
I
pop
think the
up.
approval just needs to be
Yeah.
uniquely worded to the fact that it's part of an overall three-star, state three-star program and community or county tourism effort.
So we just need to craft a motion.
That you're approving it for a civic organization.
And I think the difference that John's concerned about is the other year we're talking about the people paying to benefit their individual business. This is over.
Yeah, we've already stopped one pretty big one that was wanting to put in
But
here.
I mean, we've got, this is to benefit the whole, we are part of the first.
There was a house in Loudoun at one time painted as clown face, and again, the one in Gallatin, it's got the big jaguars on the side of it, I think he still does, but, that's not this.
Well, if I may, there's questions. The owner of this, based upon application, is the property owner, Scott Walker. Okay, so obviously, since he signed this, he's in approval of it. Here are my concerns. The litigation that has transpired in Murfreesboro and in Johnson City. And Johnson City had a mural ordinance. I sent this to everybody today. It was a little bit late, sending it to the commission members. And they're in a civil war about it. And last year, they readopted it, putting murals up. But there's some very strict guidelines. City of Murfreesboro has banned them because once they had one, then they had a tsunami of murals going in, okay? And there's two types of murals, as I understand it, in the mural world as it is today. There is a visual one that's art-oriented, okay? You just see it and there it is. The other one is participatory. You know, Nash on the Gulch, there's these butterflies and you have your picture made with it. And the question, I guess, is with Mr. Walker in regard to the liability of people being on his property. That's what happened in Johnson City because there was people twisted an ankle and who they sued, the property owner. I'm not sure Mr. Walker is aware of that. He does not have a paved lot. He's got a gravel lot, okay? So that's a concern check there. The next one, you guys, did you go through a bid process? Since this is a public, funds were spent, was there a bid application put out? Or
As far as for artist bids or
Yes,
for, we have an artist list that we draw from.
you drove them, okay?
It was discussed with several members to draw from our list, definitely look within Watertown itself.
Okay,
You guys being a very highly artistic town, as you said,
yeah,
to draw from the list of Watertown
Okay.
artists.
and so there was a notice too, and then people applied and produced a maquette and went from there.
We got it from Pat, we did not get it from anyone else.
Okay, there's no other, you guys were the only ones to participate or knew of it, okay?
For this particular one, for the other ones we put bids out, we have bids for other ones. So this one being a particular Watertown mural, it was stressed that they wanted the Watertown artist, which I agree with being an art town. So this one we went with Pat Donna.
All right. Because we just want to make sure that everybody got a chance to participate if there was a bid process, or process, or whatever. And then that maintenance issue is a concern. The ones in Murfreesboro, they went in disrepair and they were stripped. There were 2 in Franklin they stripped. And then the one in, on the Mississippi border down there, the little railroad town. Anyway, that became contentious. At some point, does the city own it, does Scott own it, or, do you own it in regard to this maintenance?
We're upkeep for 3 years. After that, I would say it can fall.
In 3 years, then it's.
3 years, Scott can decide. if he
Scott
wants to-
so Scott can decide if he wants to even remove it. Okay, just maybe get some clarification to that, because I know it's, and you would think it would be anything, but in Johnson City, I mean, they went to war, it was crazy. Other than that, if Scott's for it, he's gonna assume the liability, hey. He's not here, I guess, so. And the young lady in the pink, and you're with whom?
Hi, I work for Mayor Randall Hutto.
You do what now? I can't hear.
I work for County Mayor Randall Hutto.
Okay, so you represent the county.
Yes.
All right,
She's a member of the murals committee as well.
the mural committee.
And I'm also the 3-star coordinator.
Okay, cool. I just cast a character.
Susan Shaw, by the way.
Hi, Susan, I'm Stephen Brown. Yeah, we appreciate your participation.
Well, do we want to try to craft a motion that,
That's a good question.
that I guess encompasses all of the questions in a manner that they could move forward with this, or?
Wow. I'm gonna have to check John's verbiage on that.
Shot who? Go ahead, Steve, if you've got some ideas on how it ought to be drafted.
Mike, are you cool with ownership and maintenance falling back to the owner and,
I'm cool with the whole project. The only issue y'all got is whether or not you approve,
okay?
really. And the concern, and I heard John's concerns, if somebody else wants to do it, there are 2 ways to protect yourself against that. One's kind of sneaky, to be honest with you, so I'll make it second. But if the first thing you do is say this is a part of an overall tourism project in Wilson
I
County,
agree with that.
we want to be a part of it and separate it out. The other thing is to approve it, and the next time we'll pass an ordinance saying no more murals. That's a sneaky way to do it. That don't seem to be fair.
Well, I like the first idea,
Yeah, I think that's another way to do it.
And then,
which is kind of what we were arriving at, I think.
and if somebody else wants to do a mural in the historic district, that, just like these folks did, these good folks did, they're gonna have to come before you, and you have an opportunity to vote it up or down.
Right, right.
Would the county own this and then the property owner sponsor it?
Property owner, it's gonna be yours.
Yes, sir.
And y'all are agreeing to maintain it for 3
For
years.
3 years.
3 years.
And then after that, it's the property owner's way.
And I think the main thing is we're getting this where somebody else can't come and say, you did it there, we want to do it over here.
Yeah, I think this is a governmental function as
Yeah.
opposed to a private
Yeah.
function. Now, I don't think they ought to be automatically excluded just because it's private. Somebody may have
True.
a very good thing.
Yeah.
Like this thing on the side as you come up Depot Street. In my mind, that's very advantageous there where you advertise things and that type of thing.
Historically, there were murals. And the old Smith block where the Pioneer Building is today, that building burned 1925-ish, and then all the signage fell into the street. And then Eula Smith used that to build her house at 410, and it's in the basement. There's this whole tapestry of brick units that are down there. The other signage is across from the White Elephant. On that wall where the health center, gym, whatever you want to call that, there's Chero Cola, there's Brownie, and then there's another obtuse drink that no longer exists. And if you take infrared light and rake it, you can actually see those signs. They'll pop out. And then on 301 East Main Street, there was a banner facing east that said W.E. Stevens Building, and it had been painted over Watertown Produce Company. And they went away in the 1950s. So everything prior to that has been based upon advertisement.
Right.
Or, nomenclature as to who occupies or whatever they're doing. And since this is, I think we could word this as, I'll make a motion. Okay, where's April? That, based upon public art commission, based on a public art commission that's county-wide, and for the purpose of county celebratory recognition of historic legacies of the community, that this one public art piece be accepted as proposed as in maquette, and to be real, this is
Spell McCat.
yeah, MACQUETTE. That as proposed by this maquette, and whether it's 230 or 180, I don't think it's a hill of beans. I think it's based upon the proportion of the building, what we're going to get done. And you're using the scale of the human being, so it's got to be in that range where it's either that or you go to the postcard thing. So, yes, that we commissioned to do this public art piece.
Do we want to name what is it, the 3-star? or the-
Tennessee 3-star, Wilson County CBB,
Yeah, or just mural project, the 3-star mural project,
Pink Loco,
Paint Wilco.
Paint
You got,
And excluding any private or non-public oriented artwork. That, in other words, we're not setting a precedent. I don't think, Mike, we're not setting a precedent.
I don't think you are either.
Yeah.
you got something you can read back to us.
If that's actually a complete sentence, hell, I don't know if it is or not.
Let her read it back to us. You got it? I'll say it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, so,
And if
ayes
I,
have it, motion passed.
Hang on, Tom has a,
Appreciate your patience.
hey, Mike,
agreement, they don't,
hey, Mike,
Hang on what to expect next
Mike,
time.
we're in agreement, they don't need to go to the board's own bids, right?
I don't see how it can, Tom, we don't have anything to judge.
That's fine with me.
That's the idea behind this. That's all painted. That's from, and people would just,
Stand there
they
and
made
get
a
shot.
platform and you would just get up there and get.
Yeah, it's cool.
Mr. Chairman, I know that goes to.
I like that.
Sure.
Thanks for what y'all do. I do think it's a benefit to the county. I'm really excited about it.
Mike,
I'm in the, it's a conflict between nationwide. There's 2 Supreme Court cases on murals in historic districts. If you've got a card, I'll send you those. Yeah, and it's forward it to him. And then, however, the Tennessee Historic Commission interpreted that Supreme Court case wrong. I mean, that's so wrong, it's so wrong. I don't know who their consigliere was, but.
All right, is there,
Where are we with the, where are we with the, Newman? Where are we with Newman?
hold on just a minute. Now I ask you. Mike,
Yes, I'm sorry.
have you had any luck getting another member for us? You got anybody lined
No,
up?
and I didn't think about it Tuesday night. I'll do it, I didn't think about it.
Okay.
We didn't meet for 20 minutes, and we had a bare minimum report, and everybody was ready to get out,
Okay.
including me, so I didn't.
Mr. Chairman,
We never had a 20 minutes.
I move we adjourn.
I second that.